Hello, Matt Elliott here.
Hi, Alan Smith here.
Hey guys, Ian Hume here.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here.
Be sure to watch
Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV
For all the latest Leicester City news and information.
You can also subscribe on YouTube and various social media channels.
for the latest updates and news on Leicester City Football Club.
Come on, you foxes!
Happen in 49, 61, 63 or 69 when they reach the final. But the class of 2021 have delivered. Leicester City are FA Cup winners at last and are history makers at Wembley.
They have blown their rivals away. They have blown us all away in truth. Premier League champions 2016. The amazing Leicester City.
Leicester Till I Die TV, your first choice for everything Leicester City. Tune in and join in now.
Right, Chris.
All right, how the devil are we all? Oh, we're back. It's prediction time, and it's Leicester Till I Die TV. We've got a bit of a big game coming up on Thursday, but tonight we're talking Premier League. We didn't do very well last week. This is Leicester Till I Die TV. You can get us on YouTube at the same Leicester Till I Die TV. Please share the video if you can. Smash the likes. And if you haven't yet, please give us a subscribe. It does help. And if you are listening on podcast, whichever your favourite podcast platform is, thank you very, very much indeed. And this is where you can find us.
Watch us on YouTube. Listen on your favourite podcast platform. Or ask your smart speaker to play the podcast Leicester Till I Die.
Subscribe, like, follow, and join in now.
Broadcasting live worldwide.
Now, Steve is back with us this week. I will let you explain what. I'll let Steve explain what happened and who it was. It was, and I'm sure it wasn't funny at the time, but it was extremely funny when he tells it. And for those of you that don't remember Steve Lynex, here, and I've not shown this for a while, but here, just a few of his best bits. Now, never one to be outdone. Obviously, Steve, that was his audition tape for The Dive on ITV. Never one to be outdone. Brad, well, let me put it this way. I think he wants to go on Strictly Come Dancing.
We've recently scrapped a rule that lasted for about a season where gamesmanship wasn't allowed. You weren't allowed to do them silly little while you go into the ball. Yes. If you take a penalty normally and someone encroaches, retake it. If you're doing on your way to the ball, I don't think it's wrong that
how's it go?
To the box.
How's it go?
Because that's what they do. They're like chickens running towards the ball when they stop them.
He will kill me. Apparently, he's having a few sound issues at the moment, so I don't know whether he'll be able to join us straight away. I reckon he's just getting his sequins on, if you ask me. But I haven't got the talent. I'm not as good a swimmer as Steve. I'm certainly not as good a dancer as Brad. I don't know what I'm going to do. Let's bring the first of those in and say hello to Steve. Good evening, sir. How the devil are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Welcome, everybody.
Can you get the moves down like Brad there?
I loved it. Absolutely loved it. I've just seen him in his kitchen doing what he was doing in the dark, but now I've just seen him what he's done in the light. So
we don't want to know what he was doing in the kitchen. We'll see if he gets his 3 wishes by the end of the show. But words and pictures. Good evening, sir. How the devil are you? Now you got to explain. Dan stood in very admirably for you last week. I didn't get you many points, but we'll come on to that. But you weren't able to make it last week. Do tell us why.
No, I was at work up north, and I dropped my phone on the floor, and I had to go and get a nice new shiny bendy one. And the guy ran over my phone, absolutely smashed it to pieces, and I was really gutted. But after talking to him and finding out who he supported, it just threw me over the edge. So
you've got to share it. You've got to share it, Steve.
Well, for anybody that's been watching the show for a long time and they know that my feelings about Arsenal and Tottenham, it was a Tottenham fan who run my phone over.
Does he know who you are?
He does, I'm afraid, but he doesn't know the hatred I've got for Tottenham till he felt
which is now grown even more. Yeah. Oh dear. It wasn't particularly funny. It was unfortunate before, and I'm sorry for laughing. But when you told me he was a Tottenham fan, did he actually go over it then reverse back to make sure that he got it?
No, he got it at Butte the first time. Absolutely.
Well, let's welcome the Strictly Come Dancing fan. Brad, are you with us?
Yeah, I am with you, mate. I'm just sorting myself back out in the front room now because my phone was playing up with sound. So give me a second, I will be on camera, but I'm all good. I didn't get them 3 wishes, Steve, either.
I'm a bit worried that you just said you were sorting
poor choice of
yourself out.
words. Yeah, poor choice of words. I know.
I think it was. Well, I hope the lamp is nice and shiny now.
Well, yeah, it is nice and cleaning and blinding, so it's all polished.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's the wrong kind of lamp to be rubbing for wishes, so I'll leave that for another lamp.
I'm not going to go anywhere. I daren't go anywhere with this. Hello, Chloe, just if you're watching.
Chelsea just gone 2 up.
Well, have they?
No.
Oh, that's back. That's 3 all then, isn't it? On aggregate.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be well done.
I did not see that coming out of Burnley. I thought Real Madrid are going to roll them.
Yeah. Well, don't push. Poke the bear, as they say.
If they win it, Southampton's fault for giving them confidence to remember what a goal looks like. Insane. You can't rely on them for anything, can you?
Anyway, last week, like I say, Dan stood in for you, Steve, and this was last week's results. None of us did particularly well there, did we? I only managed to get 4, and that was because I somehow called the match of the season correct at the end. I should have gone for Leicester. I bottled out at the last minute and went for the draw. But on the other league that I do with the ex-players, Steve, I actually went for a 2-1.
Yeah.
And you and me are jointly holding that league up. I should say that we're on the same number of points at the bottom, but that's why I don't show this one. That one, I mean. But looking at that, Everton beating Man United, who knew? Brighton beating Arsenal. Well, obviously, Steve would have known that, but I didn't go for that. Chelsea coming back after 2 losses and stuff in 6. I have to say, it was just totally a funny weekend. But that was last week. This is this week. And, of course, the first game, talking of one of Steve's favourite teams, is Tottenham against Brighton. And I think then it's out of the way. Should we do it now and get it out of the way? I think we should.
It's time for the Daily Spurs.
and it happens to be 14 years, 43 days, 3 hours, 43 minutes, and 1 phone. That's how long it is, Spurs. But hey, keep plugging away, And Anthony, the Arsenal fan, just happened to come in at that said minute. Right, let me just bring myself down to the bottom. Don't take that the wrong way, but it covers me up then if I put any messages up. And Anthony says, big up Chris, Brad, and how's you, Steve?
Fine, thanks, and
brilliant. So, Tottenham host Brighton. Brighton, who were bottom of the form table, Steve, going into last week. They got that a win over Arsenal. Tottenham are second, though. Can they do the double over the London teams? I guess you're hoping they will do.
I hope so, yeah. The way they played this weekend, I think they totally deserved the win. And I think it reminded me of Leicester when they, when they had that great season. Everybody just clicked at the same time, and everybody, played really, really well. It all come together at the right time.
Yeah,
and I think that might now take it on to the next game and have a couple of games where they have a nice run.
But from that, I know you're going to go for a Brighton win. I've never any doubt in that. And maybe put a $5 on you, get some money back towards your phone, Steve. Brad, help me out here. You're going to go Brighton as well, surely, aren't you?
No, I'm not. I'm not.
No?
You know how Steve has his traditions. Well, I've just discovered apparently I've got a tradition. For about 6 weeks, I failed to use positive attitude towards Brighton and reverse psychology. I have predicted them to win or predict them to lose, hoping they'd win, and they still lost. And then I had an epiphany, right, where I'll do a Steve. I don't hate the team they're playing against, so I'll just go for a draw, and that way I can't be at fault if they win or lose. And when I did that, they got the point against Norwich, and I obviously got a point. And even though I didn't get a point, I had one very happy other half, and I was allowed to sleep back inside the house. So if I go for a draw and continue the trade, I'm very happy for Steve to pick up the point if they go and beat Spurs. So I'm going for a draw, mate. I'm sitting on the Brighton fence. I'm going to paint it blue and white and put a seagull on there. That's why I'm sitting for every one of their games until it fails.
So in this relationship with you and Chloe, who actually wears the trousers?
Mate, the trousers, she wears the boxer briefs, she wears the stocks. I'll give them, mate, hand them over, mate. I'm fine with that, mate, definitely. Happy wife, happy life, as they say.
I mean, Tottenham, like I say, they are... Well, I did actually say a while ago that it was fourth place was Arsenal's to lose, and it looks like they are going to. Now Tottenham are in that position. And I just think, I mean, Potter's back, isn't he? I mean, I'm still not convinced about Graham Potter. I've got to be honest with you. But they put 4 past Villa, 5 past Newcastle. Let's hope we can repeat the favour with that one. And I just can't see because I've just pressed reduce instead of enlarge. Where's it gone now? Oh bugger. 1 second, guys. Fit.
He's been on 5 minutes, Steve, and he's broken everything.
They're literally, I mean, they haven't, apart from the Man United loss and how they managed to lose to Man United, God only knows. They're on fire. They are, like I say, Liverpool obviously top of the form league, but I can't see Tottenham not, it's at Tottenham. I can't see them not getting the 3 points. And I'm really sorry, Steve. And I know that guy ran over your phone. And if I knew who he was, I'd send him abuse and what have you. But for me, I've got to go for a Tottenham win on this one, as much as it pains me, because you know my thoughts towards Tottenham as well. But I want the points. I want to put this to bed as quickly as possible. Right. So first game, and we're split. Next game, Man United Norwich. Steve, I mean, Norwich, they beat Burnley the weekend, so they're going to feel just popular. Just confident. Man United, I mean, it's just going from bad to worse, isn't it?
Well, I don't think, whatever position you are in the league, I don't think Man United's a threat to you anymore. I don't think people are scared of Man United.
No.
I think it's the right time to play Man United. And I just can't see them changing or getting out to what they are. To me, they've surely got a big squad. I'd drop to 6 or 7 of them now towards the end of the season. Totally start again, because the team they're sending out, they're just playing for themselves. They're just individuals, and I think it's embarrassing, and I think it's disrespectful for the Man United fans.
Yes,
and you know, I think Man United. I can't disrespect Man United's fans by saying that they haven't got the passion as the other clubs, because Man U fans, I think they're attracted from all over the world, all over the country, like you know, the Tottenham ones. So for the hardcore Man United, proper Man United fans, I think it's really disrespectful for what the players are doing.
I mean, they're sat in 7th, Steve. But I mean, I had a bit of a do with a Man United fan. He caught me at the wrong moment, and I probably went too far, but I apologise. But I mean, when Fergie was there, obviously, the fact that the Glazers were there, they kind of accepted because they were still winning. But they're just going from, they do deserve better. They are going from joke to joke. And since Fergie left, I mean, before Fergie, as I've always said, yes, obviously they had the moments with the Busby Babes and everything like that. But just before Fergie, they were just like an Arsenal and Tottenham. And they've just not got it right, have they? And if the rumours are true and it's Den Haag, that Ten Hag, whatever he's called, is going to take over, he's got to be the right one this time, isn't it?
Depends how he is and how lethal he is. Is he going to be like the manager that have come in and stick with the players they've got? I don't think they can be motivated anymore. I can't see any manager coming in and motivating. I think it's a time now where you've got to cut your losses and say, right, go. And I think he needs to have, you know, that commitment and that hardness to say, right, I'm coming in, I'm getting rid of half of you, and we'll start again from that.
Yeah. Who are you going for this one then?
Oh, definitely I'm going for Norwich.
You're going for Norwich? Ooh, right, okay. Yeah. Brad, it was 1-0 earlier in the season, in the first of the games they played. Norwich need to get out of it. Can you see another upset?
No, I can't see a Manchester United win. You said upset. I can't see Manchester United winning. So that would be an upset the way they're playing at the moment. I think
that's very true.
I think
it's Chelsea have just gone 3-0 up, apparently.
No, I think they're going to chill out more. I think they're just doing a VAR.
Oh, are they?
But still, either way, that you know what? Tip my ex Chelsea. I didn't think they'd have anything about them at the Bernabeu, but if they've done.
In fairness, Anthony has told me, and he is actually obviously an Arsenal fan, and they are used to premature celebration. Sorry, Anthony, I couldn't resist that one.
But this is one of them. Like, I agree with pretty much, if not everything, that Steve said about Manchester United. Globally, they're a massive club, and history, they're a massive club. But this season, and this is where the here and now is, and this is where it always matters, and this is where it really always counts. You know, Ollie was inexperienced. That was his only problem. Had he maybe gone down to the lower leagues and spent a few, you know, maybe a couple of seasons more with Cardiff and maybe built himself there, he would have done better than what he did. But granted, he got them, second and third. He didn't actually that bad, but he fell off this season. The wheels came off his bus. And then they made a totally non-Manchester United thing, something I've never, ever in my lifetime, and bear in mind, I'm not going back into like the 80s and 70s and 60s, like some people can who, you know, but I don't ever remember United in this sort of a state. The dressing room's a mess. The interim manager that's doing so poorly, and the player and certain players, and I will say certain players seem to not give a crap about what he's telling them. That he's, you know, Man U's social media has spent the last 2 weeks saying he's getting sacked. Tim Hag's coming in now. I mean, how desperate are you to get a permanent manager in if you're sacking your interim manager? You know, it looks a mess. And I like Steve. Nobody has feared Manchester United at all this season. We saw Watford destroy them. We destroyed them. You know, we've got a lovely run against Manchester United. That was
we
a
should
thing.
Have won that game, in fairness, you know.
Yeah, but still, I mean, you know, we're talking about a team that in the 90s we were doing backflips if we got a point or a victory against them because it was that rare to happen. And now everybody in this division feels they can do it. And you know what? I'm going to give Norwich the draw here. I reckon they get a vital point, and I think it further deepens the woes and troubles that Ten Hag's going to walk into at Manchester United come the end of the season.
I too. I mean, it's everything I've said. All season. I mean, Ollie, he was a temporary manager who was given the job before his temporary contract had expired. It all started to go wrong. They're a team of individuals. They've got the big names, but they don't seem to want to play. They're more bothered with the sort of contracts and the social medias and all that. And it is embarrassing. And a team like Man United that has got the history, which they have, which have got the worldwide fan base, which they have, has to appoint an interim manager because they hadn't got any plans for when they sacked the previous guy. And to my mind, if you're going to sack the manager, you would hope that the one you're going to bring in is going to do better. And Ten Hag hasn't been a manager as such for 3 years. But I mean, they're just, it is a joke. I mean, Man United are actually in 13th. They are 13th in the form table. You know, the 7th in the table, the 13th in the form table. Newcastle are above them. Leeds are above them. You know, Palace are above them. Brentford are 5th in the form table, and Manchester United are 30th. I mean, just let that sink in. Brentford are 5th in the form table. Manchester United are 13th. Norwich are 16th, so they're not that far behind them. I mean, Dorco said there, there's no way that Norwich will win at Old Trafford. Stop dreaming. You know, would you have said Everton were going to win? All right, it was at Everton, I grant you, but anything can happen with Man United. I don't think they'll win, but I agree with you, Brad. I've got this down for a draw.
And to be fair, Everton and Leicester were both denied by VAR a win at Old Trafford. So
yeah,
Everton and Leicester were a VAR decision each away from doing the double over United this season. So I agree.
Yeah.
You know, you can't say it's never going to happen.
No.
Not this year's season.
Obviously somebody's bedtime has been extended here, and we're going to say hello to Jake. Mind the gap, Chris. Europa League and Conference is a big gap. In fairness, like I said, Jake, there's also a big gap between you and us in the Premier League, but we're actually going up the table. Yes. You're coming down the table, and I know you look down the table to try and see where we are. Well, will you have a look behind you and down that table and see where the wheels are going that's coming off your wagon? Because at the moment, they're all coming down and hitting all the teams below you. So, but hi, Jake. How many players are you going to finish with when you play? Is it Leon in the second leg? You're going to finish with 11 this time. We have a beg for you here, Steve, from Anthony. Please just go for an Arsenal win. It's just Southampton. Come on. I don't think that's going to happen, Anthony. I don't think that's going to happen.
Just clip that for the next show, just in case Southampton actually bother to get out and turn up for a game of football.
Yeah, exactly. They're bottling it, aren't they?
They're having a bad run, Southampton, and like you say, every run's got to come to an end.
Yeah,
and I can't know. There's no way ever I could go for an Arsenal win, I'm afraid. I'm sorry, mate. Absolutely sorry, but I can't.
No, and I wouldn't imagine. So we're going to put you down for a Southampton win. Jake, you got a long way to go. Have we? Is it that big a gap?
I mean, it isn't. If you look, haven't they played 32 games, Chris?
I'm just going to look now at the actual table, which was the one thing I hadn't opened because I wasn't expecting Jake to come in. But you're welcome, Jake. Nice to have you. West Ham have played 32 in 6th. We've played 29 in 9th. We're 3 games behind, 11 points behind. But again, just out in the form table, let's just see where West Ham. Oh, the 10th West Ham. They're 10th in the form table. We're 4th. Just thought I'd throw that in there, you know. But Jake, of course, the question is how did it go in your local derby against Brentford? Oh, those wheels! You need to be sponsored by Quick Fit, Jake. You need to be sponsored by Quick Fit. Brad, we know that Southampton, they are on a really, really desperate run at the moment. Can they? Is this when Arsenal come back? Because I mean, they have lost the last couple quite badly.
I hate Southampton. They had one job. They had one job. They had an out of sorts bloody Chelsea who couldn't beat anybody if their life depended on it. They've got 400 million up front that couldn't score a goal if they had no goalkeeper. And then what does Southampton do? They look at the calendar and go, "Oh God, we haven't had a 9-0 yet." And it was 6 in an hour, and Chelsea just gave up. It's like Chelsea don't want to give them a 9-0. So guess what? They'll hand it over to Arsenal to try and get beat 9-0. So even though I don't want to, I might as well go for Arsenal because clearly Southampton have to register a 9-0 because they're useless.
I feel like we're having a Steve rant here.
Yeah, they're becoming my version of Steve's Tottenham and Arsenal combined into one because they really pissed me off with their battering. So yeah, Arsenal, unfortunately.
You are going for Arsenal.
Yeah.
Do you want me to start going first? Because you're going to start thinking that I am copying you, aren't you?
No, to be fair, this one I was expecting to hear you say Arsenal. I can't imagine saying a draw because that's how bad Southampton have been, to be fair.
It has, and I do hope they don't go down because it's the one game I can get to, and I would like Bournemouth to come up because then I can get to 2 games which are down here. So I am going for the Arsenal win as well. I mean, earlier in the season, it was 3-0 to Arsenal. So there's a lot of teams that are, it's kind of all swapping the league, Steve. It's like those that were struggling are now coming good, as in Leicester, and those that were doing well are starting to struggle, like West Ham and Arsenal or what have you. But there we go. The next game, Watford versus Brentford on the Saturday. Watford, well, let's just bring it up here. I mean, they seem to get the odd game when they sort of, surprise somebody. And I mean, again, from what you were saying, Brad, they beat Southampton, but, they lost to Arsenal. They lost to Wolves 4-0. They actually managed to beat Southampton, but like you said, Steve, Brad, everybody is at the moment. They lost to Liverpool. They even lost to Leeds. And Brentford, they've just started to turn it round again now. And the thing with Brentford is they are beating the teams around them at the bottom.
Chelsea just scored.
Is it over?
No, they're winning 4-3 now. 15 minutes to go.
Oh, wow.
4-3 aggregate.
Oh, wow. But Brentford, they managed to beat Norwich. They managed to beat Burnley. They lost to us. Maybe people want to contact us to find out how to win, Jake. They stuffed Chelsea 4-1 and they stuffed West Ham 2-0. This is only going to go one way, isn't it?
Sorry.
Steve, sorry. Steve.
Sorry,
yeah.
I think, to be honest, Watford are a team is when they're playing well and they're on top, if they score, then they're going to win the game. But then if they're not, they're going to get hammered. And you don't know what Watford's team's going to turn up. You want them to do well. Sometimes they play well and they don't get the results. But the way they've been playing lately, you can't see them doing either.
No.
Brentford are on a run now. So I think the Brentford run's going to carry on. I can't see Watford doing anything. So I'm afraid it's Brentford for me.
Well, I'll go next, just to show that I'm being fair, Brad. But I've got to agree with you, Steve. I think it's Brentford, and you know, I do feel sorry for Watford. I mean, people see now they know how I feel about Watford. They know how I feel about Norwich. But I do feel sorry for the fans. The fans deserve more. You know, if Sheffield United can come up and make a fist of it for at least a couple of seasons, if Leeds United can, then Watford and, you know, Norwich can. Who sacks their manager when you sat 12th in the table? You know, Watford. But I've got to go for a Watford win. A Brentford win as well, Steve. I agree with you totally. Is this going to be a full house, Brad?
I've not entirely made up my mind, because the thing is, Brentford are on a great run, but the problem is now, and maybe it's different because they have got the starlet of Eriksen there, and he obviously is a lot more demanding in that dressing room. He's a class player, you know, and them type of players usually come with a bit of we will keep on going no matter what the season's, you know, whether they feel they're safe or not, because their little run now has just put them out of danger, hasn't it? You'd imagine that's them done from relegation. I know it's quite tight still when you look at it, but in terms of getting dragged into relegation, I can't see it, because you're asking way too much of the teams in that bottom three to go on a miracle run to even catch them up. So the only question is, have Brentford got enough in that squad to not kind of take the foot off the gas?
Yeah.
And I just think this will be one of them games where it's a little bit in between. So I'm going to get on my fence, as I've done for most of this, and I'm actually going to go for a draw. And I think they'll have Eriksen or someone like that will rescue a point for Brentford in this. I don't think it'll be that entertaining, in fact, to be honest with you.
No. But just reading some of the comments there. You're going to need a pair of tweezers to get all those splinters out your arse, Brad.
Yeah, I know, right?
Now then, I've got to say this to Jake. How have you managed to get Steve on? A former Leicester player with 50-plus goals. Let's be honest, there aren't that many. I mean, I'm just going to have a look here, Jake, and just see, because I know we have the Tottenham daily, don't we? And don't you think we should have a sort of maybe have a West Ham daily as well? Because how long is it?
Sorry, Chris. I'd love to ask him the question. Jake, how many West Ham players have managed to get 50 or even 30 goals in the Premiership?
Yeah.
So we should try that one to start off with. Because you're young, we'll start you off small and build you up. Get back towards when you've got maybe a player who's got a.
I mean, in fairness, West Ham haven't won a trophy in 41 years, 337 days, 4 hours, 36 minutes and 35 seconds. So, Jake, come back to us when you've won a Premier League in the last 5 years, when you've won an FA Cup in the last 5 years, and when you've won the English Super Cup in the last 5 years, and then we can have a discussion.
No, you know what, Jake? Come back to us when maybe your under-23s win something.
Yeah, but I just want to show, I mean, just to show there's no hard feelings, and I haven't been stalking Jake, honestly, but I have got a little clip here of Jake on his bike. Those wheels keep coming off, don't they? Those wheels. Anyway, moving on. And Jake says, don't mention Brentford. So we'll just mention them all the time. Brentford. 41 years, Jake. Wow. My God. That's
41 years, and they can't beat Brentford, Chris. I mean, I know he doesn't want us to mention Brentford, but losing to Brentford's got to be a bad result. Brilliant for Brentford, but Lord God, losing to Brentford must be embarrassing for you.
Yeah. Dorco just says, Mr. Lynex, please tell us the truth. How many times did you have to clip Mr. Lineker around the ear hole?
Quite a few, to be honest.
Did the bet wake up? What the hell was the bet wake up? It says here, and this isn't me, Jake, this is on this website, they may be forever blowing bubbles, but their last success in a major tournament was in 1980 when they beat Arsenal 1-0 in the FA Cup final. And number one in the charts was Gino by Dexys Midnight Runners.
Oh, God.
So next, well, it's the biggie. It is the biggie. It is Newcastle versus Leicester. Steve, straight over to you, mate.
I'm going to sit on the fence on this one. I think Leicester's going to get a draw. Big pitch, big crowd. Newcastle need the points. I don't think Brendan will go out with the mentality he's gone out with the big six teams. I don't think he'll want to lose it, but I can't see him going all out to try and win it, to be honest. Especially with the European Cup games and that. So I think you're going to see like a Leicester performance, but I can't see him going all out for it, if that makes sense.
Yes.
I think that they've gone as far as they can in the league. I don't think they can get any better. I don't think it'll do him any good if they got any better, to be honest. So I think he's going to try and concentrate on what he's got left in the European games. So I'll get a performance, but I can't see him winning it. So
apparently, we've just been quoted. Well, this is the Leicester Mercury, so you believe it or not, but we've been quoted as the favourites to win the conference. I don't know how whether that will happen or not. We beat them 4-0 earlier in the season, Brad, but I mean that was under a previous manager and under previous owners and what have you. 7 changes he made for the game, as we know, against Crystal Palace. And we looked brilliant. We looked brilliant with those changes. And the fact that he can play 2 centre-backs, and then we might even be looking at playing a different 2 centre-backs on Thursday night is just totally unbelievable. It's a luxury, isn't it? But, I think he wants to finish. I mean, there is an outside chance. Like I say, we are the 4th in the form table. Can you see us getting something here?
Oh, definitely. I don't see why we can't. I mean, they didn't have that bounce initially under Eddie Howe. He's definitely not the long-term one. He's a stable manager for them. He'll stay with them in the Premiership. He'll stay with them next year. He'll probably be given a bit of a budget to spend, but he won't be given what you'd class as. He won't be given the keys to the city to go out and try and sign every Tom, Dick, and Harry, because they probably have an idea and a plan set in place for how that if he can do the job and prove it, then he'll be trusted with more money, because we saw what he spends at Bournemouth and how well that worked for them, letting him spend money. So I just think we've got this game in the bag quite comfortably. I think if we turn up and play a game, we saw what happened to them when they played a side that turns up and does that to them in Spurs. So I don't see why not. Something we wish we'd have had all season was the squad that we're now seemingly getting the majority or have the majority of it back.
Yeah.
Is the ability to rest and rotate for these European games. We didn't have that luxury in the group stages and the earlier knockout rounds. But now we have that ability. Like you said, it could be a completely different back pairing. And it's not injury induced that it's a change. It's you take a rest, you guys play this game sort of thing. And I think, especially if Leicester get through against PSV on the Thursday night, I think they'll be raring to go for this, because the season looks a lot better if you say Leicester get 7th and go on and win the competition that they're in Europe. Then obviously you'd go, well, it didn't matter that we got 7th in the end, but it's nice to know that had we not won it, we'd have got European football again. And Brendan echoed that in his press conference in the performance match. I don't see why we can't win it. So, Leicester for me are taking all 3 points.
Indeed. It is a different Leicester, and I think 7th would get us into the Conference League again, even if we don't win it this season and go up into the Europa. And I hope that a team like either ourselves or, in fairness to Jake, West Ham or one of those teams, Wolves, get that 7th place, because to be honest with you, Arsenal and Man United fans don't deserve it. I was talking to the Man United fan, and he says he'd sooner finish 8th and not have Europe than finish 7th and be in the conference. But if they do have to end up in the conference, they're going to want, let's put the youth players out and give them a thing. It's totally disrespectful. So, we are getting it right. We are seeing, like I say before, all joking aside, Jake, West Ham, the wheels are coming off. Nobody seems to want fourth, and they're all dropping down. Wolves had the good start. Southampton had the good start. Brighton, everybody's dropping away, and there's always a team that comes good at the end. And I'd love it, and I think it will be Leicester this season. And I'm going to totally agree with you. And this is going to be Leicester Newcastle. It's on Sky, but I think it might be tight because it's at Newcastle. But I can see us. See us getting 3 points here. Anthony, I'll come back to your question at the end. Don't forget to remind me. I'll come back to that when we've done the predictions. Welcome, Dan. Steve's back. Was honoured to be Steve Lynex for an evening last week. Hope you're all well. You may have been Steve in name, but you'll never be Steve in player form. I'm sorry, mate. Del Boy Gunner, good evening. Big up to you as well. Thanks for joining us. Now the Battle of the Clarets. Is Dan still with us, and is Jake still with us? Because it'll be interesting to see what you guys think. As West Ham take on Burnley. Now, I had a show last week, and when I finished the show, I said I'd go on to the watch along with Burnley Everton with Dan. And I noticed when I finished my show that Burnley were 1-0 up, and I thought, Brill, I'm going to be going this, and Dan's going to be in a really good mood. And between that and actually logging in and getting on screen, Everton had got the penalty. I sat and watched that, and I said to Dan, do you know what? That was a fighting performance there. You deserve the win. You fought it. Yeah, the first penalty was a bit iffy, but you can't touch a player in a box these days. So I said, what you've got to do, though, is you've got to go and beat Norwich. Otherwise, that win and all that fight is going to be worth nothing. And what did they do? If they're not careful, Everton are going to stay up at their expense. And like we've joked about West Ham before, but all banter aside, they're in sixth. They are dropping away. It is the battle of the Claret and Blues, Steve. Which half is going to be winning it?
Like I said a couple of weeks ago, I've got a soft spot for Burnley, and I don't want to see Burnley go down. I can't remember who told me this, but I think it was again that Everton, for the third year running, have made £105 million loss. And I think listening to big money losses like that, I hope they go down, and then they can start to think about trying to rebuild English football by not having to spend money, because that's another thing that I feel that's taking over too much. I'm throwing a European thing in now. I think there's too many European competitions. I think it's starting to just look like a money-making scheme for football rather than proper tournaments. What are we going to have next year? Will there be another European competition coming out for the middle table teams?
Yeah.
It just seems to be getting too much. And I feel like, the Burnleys, the Norwiches, the Leeds, everybody like that, I think that it's demeaning to them that haven't got the big budgets, having to perform against all this overspending and whatever. And I feel it's clubs like that deserve to be in the Premier League. So, to be honest, for the next couple of years, I'd like to see some big names go down.
Yes.
And, it can only be good for football.
Yeah, and I have nothing against Everton. I don't hate them or have anything against the fans. Just in case Elton Wellesby is watching or listening to this, I do like Everton, but just the fact that it's Everton, I'd like a team like that to go down, and Newcastle have done it in the past, and a team like Luton come up and let them have the sort of the moment of glory. Burnley, I'm just surprised that Burnley are where they are, because it wasn't so long ago they were in Europe, and we know that they're making all these competitions to try and keep everybody happy, and so that if Man United actually don't manage to make into the Champions League, which they're obviously not, they've at least got a European competition they can play in. I am surprised at Burnley, but West Ham are dropping down that table like the old proverbial bride's knickers. But which way are you going to go with this one, Steve?
I'm going to go for a Burnley win.
You're going to go for a Burnley win, right?
Yeah.
Brad.
See, my heart wants to go for Burnley more because of a Leicester perspective. Because if we are going to catch them up, obviously we've got to do our part, but you are going to need one of them 3 teams or, above us to still be dropping points so that when it comes to them game in hand, we're not talking like an 11-point gap. We're talking like maybe a 6 or a 7 or whatever, and it looks more achievable.
Yeah.
And I just don't know. I look at Burnley's results there and I think about them all season. And I mean this in a better way because they have done it better. They just remind me of Fulham when they were last in the Premiership. They just, every time they seem to look like they might turn the corner and they get a result like they did against Everton, it goes really quickly.
Yeah.
And I've just got this feeling, either way, whether they get dumped out of Europe or they progress to the semi-final stage, either way, that'll be a massive achievement for West Ham. They've got to enjoy the journey, no matter how long it goes on, how much longer it goes on for. I think a lot of them want to be fired up because they're out of Europe and they want to get their concentrate all on making sure they secure Europe for next season, or they'll be buzzing and flying high, and the players that come in will want to make sure they keep that momentum going.
Yeah.
And I just see, I don't want to say it because, like I said, I want my heart to be right here and Burnley get a draw or a win. But I'm going to have to go for a West Ham win. Reverse psychology.
I mean, all banter aside, and I think Jake left before we got up to this, so he didn't have to listen to what we were predicting. Having said that, it's 10 to 10. It is probably his bedtime. But if this was at Burnley, it would be different. It would be different, I think. And for me, Brad, you hit it totally on the head there. That every time Jay's been sent to bed. Yes, Dan. It does. You get a win. And you don't build on it. You had a great performance to come back against Everton, and then you play a Norwich side at the bottom, and they beat you 2-0. I mean, what is going on? And I like West.
Did you see the miss though, the Burnley lad when he was on the line and he put it wide? That was the game changer.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's the other thing. You sold for 30 million, you sold an 8-goal a season wonder, and then you went and spent 50 million on probably what looks like an 8-goal a season wonder at the moment. He's not doing this Messiah that's been knocking in the goals, unfortunately. And I do like, as I say, I have nothing against West Ham. We have the banter with Jake and what have you, but if it can't be Leicester, I would be quite happy, for another sort of a West Ham or a Wolves or something like that to sort of break into that top 6. I mean, it was 0-0 earlier in the season. So looking at the form, I say West Ham are down in 10th. They've lost one. That's their last 6 games. So they're ready for a loss, aren't they? It's Burnley, though, you're bottom of the league, of the form table. I was tempted to go for the draw, but I just can't see you getting anything. Sorry, Dan, and I've got to go for a West Ham win.
I don't know if Steve said it in his updates, but Chelsea Real Madrid extra time.
Yes, it's just gone. Anthony just said then 3-1.
Wow, I mean, credit to Chelsea. Even if they don't do it now, I think there was a lot of people, probably even some Chelsea fans, who thought maybe we'll win the game, but we won't win the tie. And credit to them for that one.
To go to the Bernabeu and get 3-1, I think is.
There has been some sad news that's broken, though. I don't know how real it is. Someone maybe want to confirm it for me, but apparently Gilbert Gottfried's passed away. If you know who that is.
No.
Infamously, he's a very dark comedian. He was the voice of Iago in Aladdin, the old Disney animation. He did the voice for that. Quite a good voice actor. Was in there. Problem Child, if you know that movie. Gilbert Gottfried.
No.
He's a famous. God, you shaking your head, Chris. He's about your age. I mean that in the nicest way, actually. I mean that in the
I
nicest
thought when
way.
you said, no disrespect to him, but I thought when you said, I was expecting to say somebody we'd all heard of and we could all.
I thought he was quite well known, Gilbert Gottfried. So,
you are. Let's be honest with you. You and Chloe are the Disney animation specialists at the moment. Yeah,
that's true. That is true. I will give that. I thought I'd just let you know because I just assumed he was quite well known. Sorry.
Have you heard of him, Steve?
I haven't, no, to be honest.
No.
I don't get to watch many films.
Have I been in a time machine and I've just gone into? Did I live a time zone where no one else lived in and no one knows who he is?
I think.
Well, now you know someone. Go on.
Chloe's just changing you, mate. That's what it is. Where's the old Brad? Where's the old footballing Brad? And I nearly said, and I'm going to say no disrespect to him and rest in peace, Mr. Godfrey. But when you said that, I did almost say, like, well, who did he play for?
Yeah, I realised because I thought, his last name is a bit like that Ben Godfrey, which is obviously the Everton defender. So I was like,
yes. I thought it's that's obviously where I've heard it from. Back to the football, Steve. Yeah. So that's all the weekend games. We're going to go into next week because there's a lot of games being played on catch up. Liverpool face Man United in the Sky game on Tuesday. I'm going to nail me colours to the mast here. It's going to be a Liverpool and probably even a Liverpool route, to be honest with you. Would you agree, Steve?
I think Liverpool's going to win the league this year. You know, I can't see them dropping points. You know, Man City are there thereabouts, but you know, I'm going away from Liverpool now. I'm talking about Man City. Man City always seem to me that they have to score the perfect goal, and I think that's going to be their downfall now towards the end of the season. Whereas Liverpool, the goals are coming from all over the place, and I think they're more lethal than Man City. So, yeah, I think it's Liverpool's again.
Yeah. Brad, is it going to be a full house? It must be, surely. You're not going to see Man United beating Liverpool at Anfield, are you?
What happened to the days where you'd rack your brain trying to figure out how this was going to go? Yeah, it's only going one way, mate. Liverpool are going to probably pump these about 5 or 6-0. I wouldn't be surprised if it was an absolute rout. So, yeah, Liverpool, easy, cruising.
Yes. I mean, when you look at Man United's recent results, they lost to Everton. They only drew with us, and they were very lucky. I mean, we should have won that game. Somehow they managed to beat Tottenham 3-2. Man City stuffed them. I mean, if Man City stuffed them 4-1, what are Liverpool going to do to them? They could only draw with Watford. They're just going to... I mean, it's the season. Their fans probably can't wait for it to be over, and they're forming this 1958 group that's going to protest outside the grounds. Liverpool at the moment, I mean, I know they drew against Man City, but they are just, the top of the table. I can't, it's where you see, and I think Liverpool have got the tougher run in, but yeah, this is going to be, sorry, Man United, just don't bother going, stay in your hotel. Dan makes a point here. Ronaldo is going to smash a Liverpudlian's phone to make it even. Steve, it wasn't Ronaldo that you bumped. You did say it was up north. It wasn't Ronaldo that ran over your phone, was it?
I'll tell you what, I wouldn't have been happy if it was the way he did it. That was really bad.
It was actually disgusting. Oh, Emery, the master of European football, is not buying Munich out. Wow.
Yeah. Villarreal. Can't stand that team now.
No.
Next game, not North. It's a London derby, and Chelsea obviously playing Crystal Palace in the FA Cup this week, and then they go on Wednesday, another Sky game against Arsenal. I mean, we've discussed Arsenal and the sort of season they're having. earlier in the season, it was 2-0 to Chelsea. Arsenal are now in 5th. Chelsea, I thought they were going to, were struggling to hold on to 3rd, but they've, they bounced back with that 6-0. Sorry, Anthony, I know you're still here at the moment, but how do you see this? Well, I don't need to ask Steve. What am I even asking, Steve? You're going to go for Chelsea, aren't you, Steve?
I'm going to go to Chelsea because I think Man City's second team, which is Arsenal, because I think he's trying to clone him into a Man City. Watching Chelsea tonight, and I think this result tonight, no matter how it goes, is Chelsea are going to be on a high. But
yes,
studying Arsenal and looking at the manager and the way they are, it's just Man City in red. And I think if you watch Man City and then turn it over to watch Arsenal, they play exactly the same. They try and do the same, and nah. Can't comment on Arsenal.
No.
Chelsea.
Anthony is suffering from that premature celebration again. You really need to get a doctor to see that. Sort that out for you, Anthony. Steve picks Arsenal win. Well done, Steve. No. That was a different channel you were watching. I mean, Brad, looking at tonight, Chelsea have, this is at the Bernabeu. Chelsea have had 18 shots compared to Real Madrid's 8. Now I know they say we don't, you're not a great believer in stats, but when they are on form, as we saw against, Southampton, I chose them to win the Premier League this season. I thought they could possibly do it. They've kind of let me down on that. Can you see Arsenal getting anything and keeping Anthony happy?
No. And however well you can say no in as many languages as you want, the answer's still going to be no, because even if Arsenal beat Southampton comfortably, which they probably should, if they don't, there's something wrong with them. Well, there already is. There's more wrong with them this season if they don't beat Southampton, the form they're in.
Yeah,
and I agree with Steve. Regardless of the results tonight, the effort they've put in's been phenomenal. It'll be for and then if they can get past Crystal Palace, which you'd imagine they should do, in the semi-finals, they'll be seeing such a high. They'll be wanting to end everything on a high. I think even though their club's a bit uncertain, I think unlike Manchester United, the players are certain who the manager is. They're certain of what their objectives are. They're certain of what they need to achieve, and they're going about it now in the right manner. It's finally seemed to click. And I know Chelsea can just like that go off the boil, but this is the opportunity. Close games and close compacts, you want to play an Arsenal side at home because they just fall to pieces. So yeah, Chelsea for me.
Chelsea for you as well, Brad. Not going well for you here, Anthony, is it? Now, Brad, like Brad said then, you could say no in any language. And I was actually going to say no in German, but then I thought that you might think I was predicting the score, that it was 9-0 to Chelsea. But hey, see what I did there? I'm going to laugh at it. I don't care. I laugh at my own jokes. Nobody else does. Yeah, I'm sorry, Anthony. It is a full house for Chelsea. I think Arsenal have peaked. I see what he's going to do, and I still think Arteta could be a good manager, whether he'll be given the time. And I don't think sometimes, and no disrespect to these fans, and I'm probably the same. We don't know when a new manager comes in how bad what he's taken over is. And I think with Arsenal, it had been going downhill for quite a while when Arteta comes in, so he's not going to change it around straight away. Steve just says, I know you've gone for a Chelsea win, Steve, but he does ask you what do you think, what were you going for score wise?
I'm going for a score of 3-0 to Chelsea. I know they've just conceded now. Benzema's just scored again, so they're losing 5 points.
Has he got both the goals tonight, or did someone else actually score for real Benzema? As I started calling him.
No, somebody else scored.
Oh, bloody hell! Benzema, teammate helped him out.
Rodrigo, it was that scored the first goal.
That feels like the sucker punch, isn't it? They've suffered from the sucker punch of conceding, getting to extra time 3-1, and
yes,
unfortunately, it's taken a lot out of them.
And the second biggest game of the week, and I was actually feeling a lot more confident about this one earlier in the week, and it's obviously Leicester playing one of their catch-up games and travelling up to Everton. And then I thought about it, thinking, well, all right, so I watched. I did do the watch along with Dan for the most of the 3/4 of the game when Everton played Burnley, and I could see how susceptible, but Everton just can't hold on to a lead. But then they went to beat Man United, and I'm sorry, but after I actually sort of stopped laughing, I actually looked at that result, I'm thinking, well, yeah, okay, but it's only Man United they've beaten this season. So should I be worried by this game, Steve?
I think so. Like I said before, with Leicester, I think they're going to be comfortable now, and I think they're not going to try and push themselves. Everton need the points more. But like I say, Everton again, if you get at Everton and score early, the pressure's on them. The pressure's on them more than Leicester now, and whatever the pressure's on every game. So they might come at Leicester more. Leicester might pick them off, but it all depends on what Brendan's priorities are now.
Yes.
So I'm going to go for a draw on this one, I think.
You're going to go for a draw, right? You like your draws for Leicester, don't you?
Well, it's staying on the fence, so I don't know.
Actually, I tell you what, whilst I'm on, I might as well, because I always think I never ask you when you're on here, and then I always got to send you a message and bother you. The Newcastle Leicester, what score are you going for? Then I don't have to worry you with the score predictions.
The Newcastle Leicester one,
yeah,
that's going to be going for a draw. I'm going to be one each.
And the Everton Leicester one,
that's also going to be a draw, and I think I'll go for a 0-0.
0-0. As I say, it means I don't have to bother you, and just in case anybody runs over your new phone again. Sorry,
maybe an Arsenal fan next week, won't it, Steve?
Yeah.
They'll say, I didn't know you hated Arsenal. What do you mean stop running it over?
Brad, we're on form, but Everton are going to be... Anthony's getting his own back. 2-0 Newcastle. Yeah, right, Anthony. Yeah. We're on form. We have got 2 games every week now, but the players are coming back. Well, say 2 times every week while we stay in Europe. The players are coming back. I thought we played well against Palace, but Everton. Sorry, I was thinking of a team near the bottom, and I automatically said Arsenal. But the Everton, like Steve said, they are battling for the points there, aren't they?
I mean, they are, but they're kind of, ironically, they're kind of like Burnley. They're probably glad that Everton fans are probably wishing they had Rafa back, because his start to the season that he had them start, the way he had them starting when they were doing all right, looks a million miles away from where they have been. I know, obviously, Rafa started that as well, the bad run, but Lampard's been the same, a bit like Burnley, haven't they, in a sense? They get a win out of nowhere, then they lose if you want to bounce, and they get a win out of nowhere, then lose if you want to bounce. And these are hard to predict for 2 reasons. We don't know the results of the weekend, and normally, if it's week by week, we normally know how both teams are doing in terms of form and what we're expecting to see from them.
Yeah.
The thing is, if Leicester are in good form and continue, well, they're in good form now, but if they continue that good form on Thursday and at the weekend, the worst thing in a weird way Everton can do is try and get at Leicester, because Leicester are one of the most deadliest teams at exposing the back line when they're too high pressed. And for that reason, and because I want us to push as hard as we can to try and make that late dash for 7th spot. I'm going to go for Leicester to win this one. I don't think it'll be comfortable. I agree with Steve. I think it will be a close game. It might be a 2-1 win, but I'm putting my neck on the line for us to win this one.
I mean, when you look at those stats, and it wasn't, we haven't played them yet this season. So the Everton one, Leicester one goes actually back to last season. But if you look, Everton beat Newcastle, Everton lost to West Ham, Everton lost to Burnley, Everton beat Man United. The only thing that worries me there is that the 2 wins in there. Oh, sorry, no, they lost to Wolves. But those 2 wins that they've had have both come at Goodison. So that is the saving grace for them. But I've got to be honest, if Leicester can't win this game, then I don't think they're back. You know, we're saying like all they're back and what, etc. So I've got to agree with you, Brad. I've got to go for Leicester. And I say if they don't win this, then there's something wrong. I don't know when Vardy is back. He's made a statement today saying something to his teammates. Does anybody know when he's back at all?
Sorry, Steve. In Brendan's press conference, he said he's having a few issues. He's back in training, but he's been having a few issues with touching the ball, which sounds very weird and strange, but I think he means he's feeling something in his knees still, which is slowing down his return progress. I would say that they're probably going to push back his return date, because I think there was whispers that he might be saved and come back for the second leg against PSV. I would maybe look at this game as his return. I would be very eager. I'd be very pushing the boat to say that he gets maybe 20 minutes against Newcastle. But I think now we're at a situation with Jamie Vardy where to get the best out of him, you've got to use him in bursts and keep him fresh. And I think Brendan and Vardy learned that, because he rushed himself back and convinced Brendan, who put his hand up and met, in no uncertain terms, and said that maybe Vardy's eagerness to return a week or two short earlier than they wanted him back for that Leeds game, has cost him. It's cost him another 3 or 4 weeks out. So he might be back for Everton.
I've just brought up here the report on Jamie Vardy has reportedly told his Leicester City teammates he will return to action before the end of the season. Vardy is undergoing treatment this week ahead of the second leg of the Europa Conference League quarter-final against Eindhoven. City are now playing the waiting game to see how he responds to the latest injection he was given.
Yeah. That was it. I forgot. Yeah, Roger said he was having his last injection.
According to the Mirror, Vardy has assured his teammates and manager Brendan Rodgers that he'll be fit enough to play in at least some of City's last 9 league games before the end of the season. To be honest with you, if he's not 100% fit, I don't think he should be playing. To be honest with you, there's no point in
fit for next season if it gets bad. To me, I'm with you on that one, Chris. I'd rather him get 100% back and be ready, all guns blazing.
Yeah,
near the end.
Steve, Newcastle, they're on Wednesday. They are, having played us and won or lost, are facing Palace, who could be on a high if, as I would like to see them get to the final, or they could be on a low, obviously, if they've been knocked out. How do you see this one?
Well, if they win and they're on a high, the players will be thinking about the cup final and just trying to do well in the cup. So that'll go in Newcastle's favour.
Yeah.
But Palace are a funny team, they can, like you say, come out and absolutely hammer you, or they can come out and absolutely play rubbish and get banged a few goals in. But depending on how they get on in the cup, I think if they do get through, I think it'll be better for Newcastle. But like you say, Newcastle I think now they're starting to relax. They're starting to let themselves play a bit. The pressure's off them, I think.
Yeah.
And they're only going to go one way. So, whereas before a few weeks ago, when they were desperate, and trying to prove something and trying too hard, and and things weren't coming off, they're in a nice, comfortable position now where they can just relax and play their football. So, depending on how they get in the cup, but I still think Newcastle get the points.
Right, you're going for Newcastle. It was 1-1 earlier in the season, Brad.
Yeah.
Palace, 1 drawn, 1 lost. Sorry, drew with. I mean, they only drew with, no disrespect, Dan. They only drew with Burnley. Newcastle, like Steve says, they're now playing. They know they're not going to win, but they know they're not going to get relegated. So they are playing with that freedom. They know that, like with Leicester, we've got a bit of a chance to still get into Europe. They're there. They're safe. They're not going to go any further.
Yeah.
Could as Steve said, could they nick something against the Palace side?
I think they will literally nick something. I think, if we say things gotta go, Palace players have probably enjoyed being higher up the table than they were under Roy Hodgson, who did a fantastic job. I'm not disparaging the job he did. He did a fantastic job for Palace ever since he came in. But this is a bit different for Palace. They're in that top half, aren't they? And Patrick Vieira's done a wonderful job. Credit where it's due. I can already hear Chloe throwing up for me praising a Palace player or manager for that. But even
you're not speaking to her tonight.
No, even she admits, unfortunately, as much as she hates to say it, he's doing a good job as a manager. But I just wonder if maybe a bit like Brentford and Newcastle, they're the sort of teams that are in that same pot where, like Steve says, they're not going down, but they're not gate crashing any European heights or anything. They're probably some players who are a bit content with going on holiday already because they've done better than last season. They're probably going to finish a couple of places higher than they have been when they were managed by Roy Hodgson. They'll see that as an improvement. I think this could be one of them, as we like to call it, Chris, because me and you both have different names for it, but it's the same principle. It'll be last on match of the day, in a sense, even if I don't know if there is a match today for midweek one, but if there is, it will be, because it'll be a boring 0-0. I think they'll have nothing to go for, especially if Palace get beat and Newcastle get a tonking off us. They'll both want to just consolidate a point and just keep things ticking over in the league.
So you are sitting on the fence again?
Yeah. We're sitting on the opposite fences to each other, aren't we, Steve, me and you, with our draws this week?
I'm surprised that fence is still standing.
Yeah, it's made out of sturdy stuff. We use Tottenham Hotspur wood, so I'm waiting for it to bottle and wobble on me.
This is probably, for me, the most difficult one. I obviously did a lot of stuff with Palace fans over the weekend when we were playing them, and they surprised me. I thought they'd be 15th, 16th, new manager coming in, didn't really know the Premier League. Yes, he's played here, but he hadn't managed here. But, he had a really, really, really good start. They are kind of coming up, I thought there might be an outside chance of Europe. They sat in 10th. Newcastle, like we say, they're secure in 15th. In the form table, Palace are 6th. Newcastle are 12th. I'm going to split this, I'm going to split this down the middle, and I'm going to go for a Palace win. Sorry, Chloe. But I am going to go for a Palace win. Okay. Anthony, I did say earlier, you posted a question. You've just brought it up there. I was actually just looking for it. It's gone. I can't see where the question was, which was right at the start. And I can't see what you said. No. So can you ask it again, Steve? Sorry?
I said, if he's still there, type it again, Anthony, so it can freshen up if Chris can't find it.
Yeah, it's not up at the top. Right, next game. And we are going to be looking at Manchester City versus Brighton and Hove Albion. Steve, for me, I'm going to nail my colours to the mast here. I know Brighton did get that win earlier, and everybody was coming back out the woodwork again, praising Mr. Potter. But I'm just going to go for a Man City win. I can't see anything other. Sorry, Chloe, but I think you're back down to losing ways again. Do you agree, Steve, or do you think Brighton can get something?
Big pitch. I think Brighton are going to go with the mentality of like every other team does and have about 7 at the back and 4 in midfield and nobody up front. So I think the pitch is going to be too big for Brighton to catch Man City on any counter attacks and that. So Man City are always going to get goals at home. Like I said, they score more perfect goals at home than they do away because of the size of the pitch and the way they move the ball. Smaller pitch, I would have given Brighton more of a chance. But no, I think it'll be too much for them, so I'm going to go for a Man City win on that one.
Great minds, as they say, Steve. Great minds. And then there's Brad. So, are you going to keep your missus happy?
I'm not speaking about this game until I contact my lawyers, because not only is my missus a Brighton fan, but as you know, Chris, I'm going to this game with her, so I'm keeping my mouth shut. No, I can't because it's a prediction show. But I am going to stick to my traditions, my little superstitions. I think Man City are going to win. I think it'd be. I don't think she'd have any problems with me predicting the Man City win, but providing my draw prediction works in favour for them against Spurs, I'm going to go wild here, and I'm going to go for a draw between these.
No, you do surprise me, Brad. I think this now Brighton draw is as much for you regular as an Arsenal and Tottenham loss for Steve.
I told you, mate. Until it starts to really backfire, it's going to be the case.
Well, I'm sorry. You've got to keep the other half happy. I totally understand that. So the last game, you'll be pleased to know, and we are looking at Burnley hosting Southampton. Now, if ever there was a 0-0 last game on match of the day, this is it. Two teams that, like, again, the form table, Burnley are 20th, Southampton are 19th. I'm going to just say it's a 0-0 draw. I'm sorry. I think Dan's gone, but I can't see this being anything other. And it's on Thursday. It's on Sky. I mean, to be honest with you, I think I'm washing 3 pieces of hair I've got on the top of my head that night. I don't think I could possibly watch this. And for me, it's a 0-0 draw. Steve?
I'm going to go for Burnley. I feel like I think Burnley's are going to thrive against the teams like Southampton. I think it's going to be 2-0 to Burnley.
Wow. Right. Put you down for a Burnley win. Steve will love you if he's still here. I just don't think that. I think Burnley is dropping their heads now, don't you think, Brad? You know, how can you go and do how well they did against, about Everton, and then do what they did against Norwich? That's the reason why they're going down this season.
Well, it will be. It will be the reason they go down. And I do feel sorry for them, because unlike other teams that are going to go down this season, they're not a yo-yo club. They're not sacking managers every 3.5 weeks. No matter how well they're doing, and I joined in the watch along in the comments, didn't I, of that game against Everton? And I was actually, I actually really got lured in by it, because you can see the passion of it, and that's what you get with Burnley. It's the crowd, the manager, the players. At least they're trying. I mean, I know their team was put together by £5.50 and a Twix, right, of a budget. But at least they're trying. I do feel for them this season, but I feel they're going to be one of them teams that they'll take the parachute with payment. They'll take a cut price on a Tarkowski and maybe a few players like that. But I've got a feeling that we won't be long without Burnley in the Premiership if they do ultimately go down. But I'm with Steve, because Southampton Hotspur, as I'm going to call them from now on, are my team that I don't like anymore, because it just pissed me off. Every time I give them praise, they go and lose. So sod them. I've had enough of them. And I'm in the same boat as Steve. Burnley are going to win this game, and it's going to give Dan a heart attack and false hope again. because he's gonna be sitting there going, for God's sake, get me over again.
A bit of a bromance there. You're trying to pinch my bromance with Dan, aren't you?
Well, I've got to try something, haven't I?
Yeah, you have. It is on Sky if anybody's watching it. Dan, apparently Dan is playing FIFA. He's just lost 6-0 to Arsenal. I wouldn't be surprised. That's it. That's all the games, and a right mixed bag. I usually read through them. I'm not going to read through them because there are so many games, and I do want to ask you this question on behalf of Anthony. I mean, he's asked 2 questions in fairness. The first one is said, should Vardy have gone to Arsenal? And the answer to that is just no. But the one that I do want you to answer, Steve, is what was your most memorable goal and why?
A most memorable goal and why? I think my most memorable goal was against Liverpool in a 3-3 draw at Leicester. I think it was on a Tuesday night. And I lobbed Grobler. I think it was about 25 yards from an angle. And it was a good game, that game. And that's always stuck in my mind, that one.
I did think it was going to be in a game against Arsenal or Tottenham. To be honest with you, I was surprised when you said that. But no, that's interesting. Those were the days, eh? Those were the days. That's when football was football, eh?
Football was football. It was, it was a man's game. You could enjoy it, You could get kicked to pieces and you'd still get up and you'd shake hands and whatever. And
go and have a pint afterwards as well, wouldn't you, Steve?
I'm just sorry.
I said you'd have a pint afterwards as well, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah, you could. It's really strange because, like, I look back at the Shrewsbury quarter-final game the other night, and you've got Jock Wallace, and then you got his assistant manager smoking in the dugout. And you think,
Funny you mentioned that. Do you remember that the film Damn United? And I think Brian Clough, and whether this was true or not, I don't know, but Brian Clough was getting the Leeds dressing room ready because Leeds were going to come and play Derby. And against each of the players there was a towel and what have you for them. And he put an ashtray so that they could have a fag in the changing room. I mean, you wouldn't have that. You couldn't get away with it these days anyway. Obviously, it's illegal. But those, like I say,
Wallington used to sit on the toilet with the door open, smoking while Jock Wallace was giving his team talk. It was one of them things.
What a thought you're going to leave us with there, Steve. Sat on the toilet with a fag.
I'll put a comment on tonight. I'll put a comment on Facebook tonight about the modern games, and if there was an Oscar night for footballers, you'd have like 20,000 up for an award because the way they're rolling round and acting and doing stuff like that now, it's getting too much. You don't get 2 minutes of free play without a booking or a free kick or somebody rolling over, and it's not just one game.
I did the watch along against Palace at the weekend, and I said the Palace player's gone down, and look, 3 twists and a turn back, and he'd have been carried on rolling if he hadn't rolled into the hoardings at the side of the pitch. It's ridiculous. But look, guys, thank you so much.
I watched my son play on Sunday League football this Sunday, and no kidding you, there was 2 guys on the pitch in Sunday football who were doing exactly the same thing, rolling around, screaming like little kids in Sunday football. And I thought, how pathetic is that? How pathetic.
But then again, I suppose they see it on telly and they see that their heroes doing it and what have you. So I guess, it's changing. It is changing. Football's not to what it was when you could go down to the match, have a pint for 50p, get into a fight and go home. Those days are long behind us. Steve, as always, glad you're back. Glad your phone's working again, and I really appreciate that you've given your time up here to come on. Dorker just said, "Imagine scoring a goal at Filbert Street, even being able to be on the pitch. Steve is a very, very lucky man." Steve deserved to be there, Dorco. I don't think there's any luck involved. He deservedly was there. Thanks very much as always, Anthony. Good stream, lads. Thank you very much, sir. Steve, we'll see you same time next week if it's okay with yourself. And hold on to your phone. Keep it in your pocket. It doesn't look like it's going to go to penalties, unfortunately, the Real Madrid Chelsea game. So good effort, Chelsea. You got to give them that. Steve, thanks very much, mate. I'll see you next week.
You're welcome. See you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Take care, mate. Brad, thank you as always. A bit of a longer show tonight, but I did want to sort of get those games in because there were so many that I think that this is like the COVID catch-up week. I think so I thought we'd sneak them in. But we'll be back on Wednesday night, you and me.
Yeah, we will. We'll be back Wednesday night. For the reasons I've forgotten, my brain's gone dead on me.
small matter of PSV versus Leicester post match.
That's Thursday night, not Wednesday night.
I said Thursday night.
I thought you said Wednesday. Oh, I'm going to bed, mate. I'll see you later. No, I'm off.
I thought
my brain heard Wednesday
Thursday.
Night.
You're now making me. Sorry. I thought it could have been me because I actually invited, because I say we're playing Everton next week, and I invited Elton Wellesby, the ex ITV sports presenter. I invited him onto the show to do the preview show. I said, "Can you do it on Wednesday at 7:00?" And he went, "I can, but we kick off at 7:45. Oh, bloody hell. I meant the Tuesday.
Bloody hell.
So I'm as bad as you. I'm as bad as you. Anthony, which stream are you on next week? And have they actually, Anthony, I've got to ask, and I can't put the graphic up because I don't know where I've put it. Oh, I do. Very quickly, Brad, just while I try and find this graphic, thoughts on Thursday's game. Can we do it?
Yeah, there's no reason why we can't. I mean, we got through a very solid PSV. We were unfortunate we didn't find that killer instinct in the second half that we looked like we was going to press on and get, but still in a tie. They've had some crucial injuries. I believe that Nkudu isn't available. There's someone else that they managed to come out and said there's a very big doubt for the game. If Leicester can frustrate the fans and turn their fans against it, because us English fans get a bit of a stick for turning on fans when it's not going well at home, or they're down. But foreign fans, most notably Spain, obviously, get really volatile when their team's not up to it or they're losing game. And if Leicester can do that, there's no reason we can't come back from PSV and be booking ourselves a trip to Bodglin or Italy, because we'll be playing one of them two in the semi-finals. It's very possible.
It is. I'm just thinking, like I say, it being at PSV, they've got to really come at us, haven't they? They can't sit back and defend like they did, against us in the first leg. I just think, we hopefully can hit them on the break and maybe get something. But fingers crossed. Anyway, Anthony, I just want to say, talking of streams, and I know the River Thames is a big stream, but apparently this was at the weekend. I don't know if this is still the case, that the Thames flood barrier was closed due to the amount of tears that Arsenal fans were shedding after the Brighton loss. Just a question. Just a question. That's all I'm asking.
Never just a question with you, my friend, is it?
Dorker says, if we get through to the semi-final, I will buy Chris a banana. I can think of a few other things you could buy me that I would prefer.
Yeah.
But anyway, thanks very much as always, Brad.
No
See you
worries,
on
mate.
Thursday night.
Thursday, not Wednesday, Brad. Thursday.
And don't forget, it's an early kickoff on Thursday at 5:45. Yeah, the kickoff.
I'll take it. It'll be schedule pending in case the game obviously does go the distance.
Yes, I mean it's provisionally booked for 8:30, but if it's a bit later because of penalties or whatever, then yes, it will. And we will be having a gentleman joining us called Broski from Holland, who is a PSV fan. So.
Ooh.
Yes, I know somebody actually from Holland this time, so that would be nice to. Well, it'll be nice if we win.
Yeah, if not, kick him out.
Yeah, exactly. Or if just not send him the link, Brad, thanks very much, mate. Have a good one.
No worries,
I think you've earned some brownie points with Chloe, so go enjoy them. I'll see you on Thursday.
See you Thursday, mate. I'll write it down in my diary.
Thursday. You got your diary. Write it down. Okay. Take care, bud.
Take care, mate.
Cheers.
See ya.
And we are going to be back though tomorrow before the PSV game. We have got the big fat football quiz. We're slowly getting through these Premier League teams, and we've got Watford coming up. So. They are maybe hoping to go a bit higher up our table than they are down their own table. I'm still trying to get a Villa and a Brentford fan in and a Norwich City fan in. So it's only those three to go, and we'll have gone all the Premier League teams. He would have said by Anthony if I'd put that up before he went. So yeah, 7:00 tomorrow. It's Watford. Can they do better in the quiz than they are doing in the football? It looks like Chelsea are out, but bad luck, Chelsea. Well done. You went there and you gave it a fight, and that's all that matters. You did what you could do. Nobody, I don't think, was expecting that from you. Anyway, see you tomorrow at 7. Thanks for watching. Smash the likes if you haven't done already. Share if you can do. Be much appreciated. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet subscribed. Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube. And if you've been listening, thank you so much for listening. To say the podcasts are going really, really well. And I say, I do appreciate those listens as well. I'll see you tomorrow at 7. Thanks for joining in. Thanks to Anthony, to Dan, and to everybody else, Dorco, Jake. Yeah, I've got to say thanks to Jake, haven't I, for popping in. And I'll see you tomorrow night. Take care, guys. Don't do anything I wouldn't enjoy. Bye now.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye and see you next time.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram.